Yeah, I want to touch on the Ukraine-Russian situation real quick and how it kind of relates to boxing, and that's why I'm kind of posting it up here. Um, so let's dig into it. So we got um, the situation going on in Ukraine right now and Russia. Um, as we know, it looks like Russia's about to go in there and invade. At least right now, it looks like push into certain parts of Ukraine. Well, the parts that's not even really classified as Ukraine anymore. The lower east section, closer to the sea. Donetsk, Crimea is already captured by Russia, and now they're trying to push in and take the there's separatist groups in those regions that are pro-Russian, and they have a lot of Russian background, and they believe in Russia, and they are the ones that a lot of rebel groups are out there too. And across those borders, where those little regions, Donetsk and everything, that's where the Ukrainian troops are and moving north. All right, this stuff is near and dear to me. This military shit, it really is. I don't really like to get into a lot of this stuff, but it is what it is. It really is. Stuff like this, it bothers me, man. Just put it like that. But you're hearing, just thinking about what could possibly go wrong with the whole thing with the innocent people out there, man. Not these fucking governments, because these governments, they do all of this shit, man. And the only people that really be hurt behind this shit be the citizens. The regular people get caught in the middle of this shit. The kids, the families, they end up being the ones dying, all because of government shit. Because these governments they they don't need to exist, bro. This is what I've been saying. I've been saying this for years. Governments are the cause for humanity's problems, man. But nobody ain't seeing that shit. Most people are too blind to it. But I mean, Russia is big enough. It's the biggest country on earth. What do they need Ukraine for, right? But in our eyes, it might seem like it's wrong. But I kind of try to touch on a little bit of it for, to make a lot of y'all kind of like understand it a little bit. I'm going to just put it in a nutshell. But so back in like 2014, man, pretty much Russia took over pieces of that same part that the separatists and the rebels and shit like that, and the people that really declare themselves Russian. Uh, this been going on since like 2014, and it still was like little fighting in that little pocket right there. There's always been fighting there since like 2014, and probably like little skirmishes before that, but it really ramped up in 2014. Um, Vladimir Putin, man, he believes that Ukraine, that whole area was a part of the Soviet Union back in the days, and the Soviet Union collapsed back in '91. I know a lot of y'all remember seeing those videos, the Berlin Wall and all that shit. That's what happened. All of that shit collapsed, and now there's Russia is just it's smaller now, so it's not the USSR and all that shit anymore. It's just Russia now. It's not Ukraine and a lot of them other Eastern Bloc countries that's next to Ukraine. They were all part of the Soviet Union, and now a lot of them are just independent little countries and stuff like that. And NATO came around, and that's like 30 something countries that all agreed to help each other in the event that they wanted to get attacked. It's kind of like a gang. It's kind of like a bunch of gangs have a coalition to protect each other. It's almost like the same thing. Governments are gangs. That's what they are. You say what you want. That's what they are. They're gangs. Um, their behavior in the past have proven that they're violent gangs. You know what I mean? You want to talk about Bloods, Crips, and all these Hispanic gangs? No, no, no. Let's talk about the biggest, most destructive gangs on earth, and that's governments. It's just that simple. But so in a nutshell, Vladimir Putin, he believes Ukraine is Russia. He believes the people of Ukraine are Russian, that they really shouldn't really be Ukraine. It should be as one. And when the fall of the Soviet Union came about, that kind of fucked Putin up, and he was very angry about that. And fast forward now, uh, actually, I think strategically Ukraine, he believes that he don't want Ukraine to be a part of NATO because he feels like Ukraine is like that's his baby almost. Like that's his crown jewel. He don't want to lose that. He feel like he already lost it, but then he feels like he lost to other countries. But nah, y'all can't. He lost to other countries to NATO. He don't want to lose that one to NATO. He strategically, geographically, he feel like that's a threat to him. If Ukraine becomes NATO, he just feels like that's a threat to him. Like he's losing a big piece of his heritage almost, so to speak. And he doesn't like that. He doesn't want that for Ukraine, and especially the parts that he controls already. So now he has troops surrounding Ukraine right now, and from Belarus all the way down to like Crimea area, he has that whole border hemmed up right now. The whole eastern border of Ukraine, the north, from the north to the south, the east, the whole area, like in a backwards C motion. He has that whole place filled with troops, 100,000+, so they say, plus the separatists down in Crimea that's ready to go. And then last night they said Putin moved his peacekeeping troops into that area. So the problem is the NATO and the Western countries, they think that Russia is going to invade the entire country of Ukraine. Very, very possible that can happen. Do I think that's going to happen? Probably. I don't know. We have to see. But strategically, the news is telling everybody, oh man, Putin can't do that because it'll take 800,000 troops, because Russia's army is the second biggest. Russia has 800 some plus thousand troops. They're saying that's going to take 800,000 troops for Russia to secure all of Ukraine. Don't listen to that bullshit, bro. I know a lot of you dudes, that understand a lot of military tactics and stuff, will tell you that's bullshit. That's bullshit. It's not going to take the entire Russian military to secure all of Ukraine. That's bullshit. It's not. My estimate is it would probably take, if it's 150 plus at the borders, that's securing the biggest chunk of Ukraine's border inside Ukraine, man, it would probably take a little more than that, maybe 200,000 troops, maybe a little more. So maybe 400, maybe half of the Russian military, or a little less than that, it would take to probably secure the whole country of Ukraine. Not the whole fucking your military. So that's what the news will tell you. That's a deterrent. That's like they try to put that signal out there to tell Putin, hey man, it's gonna take your whole military to secure this country, so you better not invade it. Putin ain't listening to that. He knows what's up. So you guys gotta start thinking, man. You gotta start thinking. It's all strategic. They trying to scare the guy with sanctions, and they had put sanctions on Russia before. Obviously, from what it looks like, he don't give a shit about the sanctions, man. When you look at it from Putin's point of view, you got to view it as if, let's just say the United States, let's just say, let's take Puerto Rico. It's a part of the United States right now. Oh no, let's take Alaska. Alaska is like kind of like a perfect example. Let's just say Alaska was, right now it's a part of the United States. Let's just say it broke off and it wanted to break away and become, or it broke off and became a part of its own. It just became Alaska, the country of Alaska or something like that. I'm trying to put this in a certain way. And the United States was like, damn, Canada is right there. And Canada formed some kind of coalition, and Canada wanted to try to take a chunk of United States besides Alaska. And what if United States said, well, gee, we don't really, we don't want Alaska to really, we want Alaska to stay sovereign. We don't want it to join the Canadians. So we're going to go in there and take a piece of Alaska and call it our own again. And then it's pushback. behind that because they feel like geographically that would be a threat to the United States if Alaska joined Canada or joined any coalition with other countries. You know what I mean? It's almost the same fucking thing. It's almost the same thing. And the United States feel like, well, Alaska was once a part of us and their heritage belongs to the United States. That's how Putin is looking at a lot of this shit. You gotta look at things from other people's lenses, man. He feels like they're a threat to him. And here's the thing, man, with the sanctions. Although the United States are putting sanctions on Russia, even heavier sanctions, Russia can close down a lot of shit too that can hurt the U.S. Russia is one of the biggest oil producers in the world. It can stop oil production, shut down some things. It can shut down a lot of things when it comes to oil. And we already know we're oil dependent. You see the gas prices already shooting up. That's one issue. So, and there's others too. There's other things that can have direct blowback. So when they start pushing on the sanctions, best believe that's what's gonna happen. So expect to see crazy shit happen out here too with the gas and other things, man. You gonna see. And it seems like all of this is planned. It's like they know what they're doing. You know, it's like they're starting shit over there, and then it's they want to start further shit over here, as if we already ain't been going through a lot of shit. And the biggest concern for the U.S., this is what's getting me about the United States. They want to talk about fighting for freedom of Ukraine, but yet in Canada, the fucking the prime minister, it was the president of Canada, Justin Trudeau, this fuckface. He seized the citizens of Canada's personal bank accounts because they're protesting the truckers are protesting. So he's figured he got the power to punish them by freezing their personal finances. These are individual people, bro. It's kind of like I find that shit so ironic that this is happening right around the Ukraine thing, and the U.S. is talking about freezing accounts of Russian government officials and prominent people. And then the Canadian government is freezing personal bank accounts of Canadians for exercising their freedom of speech. That's a little scary. And you don't hear Putin, you don't hear Biden talking about that kind of freedom, right? That's okay because you're cool with Canada, but you ain't cool with Russia, so you don't like what's going on over there. But only one set of tyranny is okay, but the other ain't. Pretty much that's what the U.S. does. One set of tyranny is wrong, the others is okay. As long as they cool with you, the tyranny is all right. But if they not cool with you, the tyranny is fucked up. That's pretty much what they telling us. And the biggest concern they're saying is they think that Russia's going to go in from the north and take over the entire country of Ukraine, and mainly the city of Kiev, which ironically, the mayor of that city happens to be Vitaly Klitschko, one of my top heavyweight boxers that has been retired. And that's kind of ironic, man. And Vitaly, I was watching the interview with Vitaly Klitschko about the situation. He said, man, he was in the military. He said, if he got to fight for this, he'll fight for it. So Vitaly Klitschko is in the middle of this shit now. So shout to Vitaly Klitschko, man, for holding his own, man. Gotta respect that. So that's why, you know, it kind of links into boxing, because one of my favorite boxers is actually a mayor of a place that could potentially become overrun by Russian troops. Tactically, they can do it, man. They coming in from the north. The only thing is, coming in from the north, from the very top of Ukraine, there's a place up there called Chernobyl. I know a lot of you guys know about Chernobyl. That was one of the greatest nuclear disasters ever took place there. So it's still fallout there. The place still can't grow a lot of you can't grow trees, you can't grow, the soil is still bad, everything is barren, it's almost barren there. So it would be kind of risky to bring troops through that area, you know, exposing them to that area. So they would probably circumvent around. That's why they're positioning them in Belarus. Belarus is like another stronghold of fucking Russia, man. They got Russian name in it, RUS at the end of Belarus. So when you see that, you know that's like a Russia front country, man, almost. So they're gonna do anything Russia tell them to do. So Ukraine got a lot to worry about. Not only do they got to worry about the Russian troops, they got to worry about the rebels. They got to also worry about the Belarusian troops as well. I believe they'll play a part in that shit too. But more than likely, the situation, if he is going to invade Ukraine, it's not going to be from the north. I think the north is just there to secure things in case things do go crazy in the southern part of Ukraine, and then they'll push in if they have to. I think they're there just for reserves. I think they'll come in if they're gonna take over Ukraine. It's gonna come in from the bottom and keep pushing up until they take over the whole country. So the invasion is gonna start, and pretty much I already said this like weeks ago. I'm like, yo, if they invade, it's gonna be from where they already got stronghold, and that's exactly what they're doing. So they're gonna come in and they're gonna push up. They're going to keep pushing up and up and up until they engulf the country, and eventually they'll get to Kiev. But even after that, before they get there, that's when the real firefight is going to really start, because the Ukrainian troops are right past that line over there with Donetsk and all of that. That's the area where it's officially still Ukraine controlled. Once Russia decides to push through that, if that's what they're going to do, then that's when you're going to see hell break loose, because you got the Ukrainian troops, you got the Ukrainian people that's ready to give up their life. They're ready to fight. So it's going to be bloody, man. If this thing goes the way I think it is, the way it might go, it's going to be intense. The problem is the fallout. It might drag other countries into this. You know, if Ukraine is not a part of NATO, so you ask, why is the U.S. there? Because they're there to protect the NATO countries that's surrounding Ukraine and Russia, like Poland and all those other ones. And I think at some point, if this thing goes hot, somewhere down the line, I don't know, somebody gonna pull a false flag. They talk about Russia pulling a false flag. U.S. good for pulling false flags too. They might end up doing like a saying that the Russians attacked one of their troops and then blew up one of their tanks or something, and then that'll pull the United States into this shit. And then when that happens, all these other countries, you know, but because you got to think about it, the U.S. can't militarily protect Ukraine. They only protect the borders of the NATO countries. The only way they can protect Ukraine is to use a false flag. That's the only way. So they got to say Russia attacked them. That would be stupid for them to do that, but we don't know, man. This fucking president he's out of it, so we don't know what'll happen. So that's the only way the U.S. will get militarily involved, is if our troops get killed or something like that. And then you got to think about it, they're already in harm's way, right? So respect, man. If that happened, then that's it, bro. You got yourself World War III right there. So other countries gonna get in, and this thing could potentially go nuclear. Russia already got nukes aimed at us. We got nukes aimed over there. Then China, you got to consider China. So this thing may seem small, but I think it's a bigger picture. It's always a bigger picture, man. Whatever you see, just always remember there's something deeper going on behind the scenes, man. So that's just my take on this thing. Shout out to Vitaly Klitschko, man. I hope he be all right and his family be all right. And if he got to fight, then that's what you got to do sometimes, man. But the U.S. is positioning themselves to put themselves in a position where they're gonna get into a fight. That's what it's looking like to me. There's like 8,000 troops on the Polish border. Russia already said that's a threat. It's angering them. But the U.S. has clearly came out and said this is defensive purposes. It has nothing to do with going to war with Russia. Yeah, they tell us that because they want us to hear that. We don't know what they're going to plan. They might plan a false flag, blow up one of their own tanks, said Russia did it. We wouldn't know if they did it or not. We only get what they're telling us. And then once that happens, oh shit, Russia, U.S. does this. They did that with the Gulf of Tonkin to start the Vietnam War, same thing. So be on the lookout for something like that, man. I'm telling you, be on the lookout for that, man. But anyway, I'm off this. I'll catch you guys later on the next vid. Hope y'all enjoyed. Peace.